Welcome to Tap, where low-code meets a truly model-driven approach to building software. As these opening slides appear, you can follow along using the downloadable slide deck. The link is available in the video description. In this video, you're going to see how Tap digitally represents every aspect of an organization. That includes the people, the processes, the data, and the systems that make up the business. Tap uses this structure to drive the entire work experience. This unified and dynamic model is often referred to as a digital twin of the organization, and it becomes the foundation for everything you'll see next. Once the model is defined, Tap transforms it into the screens your teams use, the workflows they follow, the automations that support them, and the intelligence that helps them make better decisions. This model-driven approach creates a consistent and adaptable environment where change is easy and business logic stays aligned across the entire system. Almost everything you're about to see is built with no code. Tap is a 90% no-code platform, which means the data model, the forms, the grids, the workflows, and the rules can all be configured visually. When your organization needs something more specialized or more sophisticated, Tap uses code components. These are low-code extensions that add custom logic or user interface elements directly into the model. You will see examples of these later in the video. As we move through the different parts of Tap, you will notice how everything builds on this same model. You define something once, and Tap reuses it everywhere. It appears in the interface, in the workflows, in the automation, and even in the AI layer. This creates a unified and connected system that can adapt as quickly as your organization does. With that in mind, let's begin our journey by looking at how Tap models the organization. To understand Tap's capabilities, it helps to start with the building blocks of the platform. Tap begins by defining the objects your organization relies on, not just their data fields, but the relationships, rules, and behaviors that connect everything together. This foundation informs every experience, workflow, and automation you'll see later. Let's break down the components that make up this model. Entities. The first step in creating a digital twin of your organization is to create a digital representation of everything involved in your business: the people, products, processes, locations, organizational units, and the connections between them. Tap entities are precisely this digital representation. In Tap, everything is an entity, and all entities are made up of fields, each of which may be a yes or no, a number, descriptive text, a relationship to another entity, one or more of a list of valid values, or a process. Every entity also has an entity type, which groups together entities that have the same set of fields. Tap comes with standard entity types out of the box, such as individuals, users, security groups, filters, and many others, which can be leveraged and easily extended to other entity types. By defining entities clearly, you create the language Tap uses to understand your business. Relationships. Relationships express how entities connect to one another. Once a relationship is defined, Tap automatically understands the connection and makes it available throughout the experience. Every blue link, as shown on the screen, becomes a navigation path. You can open related entities directly or peek at their details without leaving the screen. Because Tap documents every relationship, it becomes effortless to display related data, navigate hierarchies, understand how information flows across the business, and create forms and grids, as we will see later. This model-driven connectivity is what allows Tap to stay consistent and intelligent as configuration changes. Arrays. Arrays are simple in concept, but powerful in practice. They are dynamic lists of entities you can navigate, filter, or perform bulk actions on. With a simple click, you can build arrays of related records, use the Array Navigator to move through work contextually, and perform bulk actions like sending emails, reassigning records, or updating fields. Arrays turn variations and collections of entities into manageable, controlled workflows. Criteria. Criteria are used to determine when a certain condition has been met or not. Criteria can be based on different things like entity type, a filter, or a security group. When you pick your source for the criteria, it walks you through building it. In the end, you want something that returns true or false. If you need something more complex, you can use database queries underneath to test your criteria. Rules. These criteria can be combined to make rules. These rules can be used in many different places as shown. Later on, we will talk about rules in form design for conditional visibility and editability. We will also see that they can be used on grid pages to filter records. Finally, we will see how rules are used to control process flow when we talk about success maps in processes and journeys. We can define very complex rules to make sure the entity is in good order before it moves to the next step in the process. Code components. Most of what you'll see today can be done with no code, but some complex situations require more specialized behavior. With most low-code platforms, no matter how robust your form-building capabilities are, at some point you can run into a wall. With Tap, there's no wall, you just go to a code component. Code components are in the metadata. They're stored in the database. They're low-code components and they compile. Once defined, they can be used just like entity fields, as we will see later. Here's a simple example. It's a button that says impersonate the portal user. I set it up and I say that it targets individuals. I can tell it to take from the current individual, load some information into the code component, and then I write my HTML template. This draws the button and includes a little JavaScript that defines what happens when I click it. Now I have this button that I can drop onto a form, as we will see shortly, and I don't need to compile anything. It's immediately available. Code components can be something as simple as a button, a very complex user interface feature, or something with no interface at all that handles complex validation rules. Now that we have explored how Tap models the organization, let's take a look at how Tap turns that structure into the work experience users interact with every day. Once the organizational model is in place, Tap uses it to generate a responsive, intuitive, and role-aware experience. Interfaces aren't built one screen at a time. They evolve naturally from the model you've defined, which keep everything consistent as your business changes. Let's explore the key elements that shape this experience. Data entry. Tap prioritizes data quality. We have integrated email, address, and phone validation. When someone enters an email, it automatically validates it and identifies whether it's personal, business, or undeliverable. For addresses, when someone starts typing, it will automatically match to the Postal Service database, so you're always getting a real address. And we also update through the National Change of Address database, so forwarded addresses are kept current. Phone numbers are also validated. We identify the type of phone number, make sure it's a real number, and format it correctly. These built-in checks reduce errors, support accurate reporting, and ensure downstream workflows run reliably. Forms, which we will talk about next, can be completely designed using our form designer. You can create any form you want, drag and drop fields, reorganize sections, set defaults, and define which fields are visible or editable. You can also configure conditional logic, so fields appear only when needed based on rules you define. Form designer. Here is our form designer. After you've defined your entity type, the form designer is completely drag and drop. Forms can have multiple tabs, rows, columns, and sections. You can drop entity fields as well as code components onto sections. In a desktop view, the three columns appear side by side, and on a mobile view, they stack, so the layout is responsive. When you drop a field onto the form, you can configure its size, label, and whether it is display only. You can set conditional visibility and conditional editability, such as allowing only administrators to edit a field or showing a section only when the entity field has a particular value. For a code component, in addition, you can control layout and behavior using the low-code in its definition. You can also add static HTML for instructions, images, or user interface elements, and you can hide or show these based on criteria. This supports highly dynamic and intelligent forms. Relationship and search grids. The other piece we have is grids. Our grids out of the box are dynamically sortable, dynamically groupable, and dynamically filterable. They're exportable to Excel and PDF, and they can have the capability to very easily navigate to grid elements. As shown earlier, all grids also can have the array button in the upper left. From there, I can hit play, and it will create an array of the entities I have selected. I can also drop down and have more options. I can make an array of related entities, or I can create new arrays. Grid Designer. In our grid designer, again, it's all drag and drop. We have two major ways that we can design these. We can go through the entity type and then use our criteria to build which records to show, or we can get more complicated and rely on a database query in order to create what we call a filter. We can configure that filter so we can name each field in the filter and control how it displays, and then drag and drop those fields onto the grid page. We can control whether it's filterable, whether it's sortable, whether there's an aggregate such as a sum or an average at the bottom of the screen, and whether you can navigate to it or peek to it. Beyond forms and grids, Tap includes an intelligent UI layer that customizes the experience for each user. This role-based layer brings together the tools users need in the moment, including contextual menus, teamwork, documents, and other productivity features. Security. To support the user experience, Tap provides a robust security framework. Permissions can be set at the entity type level, the field level, the relationship level, and even based on a process state or user role. Tap organizes groups of permissions into an entity type called security groups, and users are assigned to one or more of these. This ensures users only see what they are allowed to see, and the intelligent UI layer relies on these permissions to determine which screens, actions, and data to present. Main menu. The main menu is also based on who you are as a user and what you're allowed to see. You always have your main context entity at the top. You have your 20 most recent entities that you've been to for easy getting back to them. And you can also turn that main menu off. Quick search. Tap supports quick search. At the top of the screen, you can pick the entity type you want to search, just start typing, and it will give you your results. You can see here that we have a quick search for individuals that's different from a quick search for local chapters. It gives you back different summaries, and we did that with code components, so your search results can be very tailored, and you get a lot of information. Shortcuts and changelog. There are also tools that remain available on the screen to support everyday work. The shortcut bar allows you to quickly create tasks, send emails, or start other common actions without leaving what you're doing. The changelog provides a complete history of updates to the record, giving you instant visibility into what changed and when. You'll also see the teamwork panel, which we will talk about next, and it can be switched with other contextual elements, such as the array panel. Teamwork. Another sort of basic built-in piece of Tap is our teamwork. Teamwork is tasks, emails, activities, and meetings. It also contains alerts, attachments, documents, and mind maps, and any entity type can be set up to have these teamwork elements. I can have attachments or meetings that refer to it or emails. When I'm in an entity that has teamwork connected to it, I'll see it in relationships, and on the right, I'm going to have my teamwork panel, where I can quickly see an activity or a task I need to do. I can sign off on that task right there. Emails that are related to that entity. I can click on the email and see what it was. I can create an email from right there. Tasking. Tap includes a tasking model that is incredibly robust. Tasks can be created automatically in a success map, which we will explore shortly, or they can be created manually. Tasks support delegation, interested parties, prioritization, deadlines, notifications, and conversation threads. They provide a complete framework for managing and tracking work, whether it is simple or highly coordinated. Calendaring. Tap also includes a robust calendaring capability. You can schedule meetings with internal or external participants, account for travel time, and manage all of the details needed to coordinate schedules effectively. Document generation. Tap has an entire document generation capability where you can set up document templates and easily send out an email or create a PDF based on that document template and your context entity. Tap also supports e-signing through DocuSign. Now that we've explored the user experience, let's look at how Tap automates work and connects to other systems. With the model and experience in place, Tap brings everything together through automation and integration. These capabilities help move work forward, enforce consistency, and connect your entities into a cohesive ecosystem. Processes and journeys. This is what we consider to be Tap special sauce. The success map. This is where we define all the business rules that entities are subject to. An entity type can travel on one or more of these success maps. When I define a success map, I'm mapping a business process. The green beam is the happy path. The process flows from one state to the next until completion. In the real world, we have suspense states, where something is on hold because additional information or verification is needed. We also have states that represent undesirable outcomes, such as cancellations or incomplete work. Each state defines the next allowed states. The traveler moves from state to state through the process following these rules. You'll see little numbers on the states, and that indicates the number of actions that happen when you enter that particular state. Worker actions. Another way we use success maps is by creating utility lists. When you arrive at a state or leave a state, you can define workers. A worker can have one or more actions, and these actions are very robust. A utility option allows someone to quickly send an email or start a new process. Here is an example of an email action. Again, in the context of a labor union management solution, when someone begins setting up their portal account, we send reminders 3 days after they start, and again 8 days after they start. The traveler in this case is a membership, but the email is sent to the individual related to that membership. We use an email reminder template, customized for that individual. Actions can run immediately or be scheduled. In this example, the action runs 8 days from initiation, but you can also base timing on fields or calculated dates. Execution criteria ensure the action only runs when conditions are met. For example, not sending the email if the person already completed their setup, or sending the Spanish version only if their language is Spanish, and only sending it if the membership is active. Interweave and interactions in Tap enable powerful API integrations and can be configured simply and using no code. Organizations use a number of disparate systems to support various functions of their business, such as accounting, CRM, email marketing, ERP, HR and payroll, product management, and support, to name a few. Tap interactions seamlessly orchestrate the flow of data between these systems and with Tap, transforming and organizing them on the fly and converting them into meaningful actions to accelerate and elevate your business outcomes. Tap interactions include a wide range of built-in connectors to most popular systems and can easily and quickly extend to additional systems. Interactions can be triggered on demand, on schedule, and through success maps. Interweave is a capability we have to perform no-code API integrations, where you would set up credentials and webhooks called warps to be able to interact with any internal or external API. These warps can be triggered by success map actions, entity events, or from code components. Each warp can call another warp as a response handler to chain API calls together if needed. Tap automatically handles any required token exchange as part of the configured API calls, transforming payloads and responses as needed to seamlessly chain calls and integrate them into your business flow within Tap. With automation and integration in place, let's explore the intelligence layer that elevates Tap beyond traditional low-code platforms. Tap's intelligence layer sits on top of your model and workflows, providing insights, recommendations, and intelligent automation that help users work smarter and faster. Inquiry. We have our own query language called Inquiry. Our data setup can get a little complicated because of all the different ways these things relate to each other. Inquiry makes that a drag and drop process. You just drag the fields you want, set your criteria, and you can get results. You can take those results and view them in Inquiry. Inquiry analysis. Inquiry analysis is going to give you just a dynamic connected dashboard. Taking the inquiry results, it's going to automatically do this and break it down so that you can filter by these different dimensions or time periods or locations. SQL Server Reporting Services support. We also support paginated reports. At the end of the day, sometimes you still need something paginated, an invoice or something like that. So we tie into SQL Server Reporting Services so you can design paginated reports that can be really good looking and make nice PDFs or nice printed pages, and those are able to be connected to your context entities. It's contextually aware. Workspaces and insights. We have a section of Tap that is our dashboarding. We call it Workspaces. It stands for wanted or required knowledge, and a workspace is made up of insights. There are little components that can either be pre-built or they can be code components, like we talked about earlier, that can be dropped into your workspace. You can have as many workspaces as you want. Each workspace can have 1, 2, or 3 columns, so you just drag and drop your insights into those workspaces and build yourself a dashboard. Here's an example of an insight with a navigate capability, so that you can click one of these numbers and then you would get the list of all of the entities that make up that number. And then you can navigate from there, or export it, or whatever you want to do. The Tap Magic panel is going to be your Gen AI assistant. It's going to live next to your entity, and it's going to give you helpful summaries. It's going to give you next best action. It's going to answer questions. It's going to take a look at what you have on your main screen and give you insights without having to go through all the other tabs. It will summarize them and give you the highlights. It will aggregate and be streaming, so it's constantly working back and forth with you. It will look at your success maps and analyze the entities that have gone through that journey to give you insights into bottlenecks, roadblocks, or attributes that differ between successful and unsuccessful progressions. Permissions and security are key. Tap Magic only reveals information the logged-in user is allowed to see. On the agentic side, we talked about all the actions a success map can do. A Tap Magician would be an agent trained to do a particular set of actions that you can put into a success map and have that agent take the information and history and do what it needs to do. You have just seen how Tap brings structure, clarity, automation, and intelligence together in a single model-driven platform. As organizations take on more complexity and prepare for the next wave of AI-enabled work, this unified approach becomes essential. Tap makes it possible to design how your organization operates today and adapt just as quickly as tomorrow demands. If you would like to review the concepts we covered, you can download the accompanying slide deck using the link provided. Thank you for watching.